Smoke weed every day.
There's so much for it's happening. Remember, he was pulled from their loss to the Bears after an interception. Rookie Bailey Zappi finished the game. As for the Jets, right out Elijah Moore returning to practice. He's expected to face the Patriots after previously requesting a trade. Moore had a promising rookie season, but he did become responsible for his targets decreased. In the NBA, Russell Westbrook is going to mention their head, so he's ready to roll for Denver's game. Russell Wilson says he's ready to roll for Denver's game against Jacksonville in London. In this last week with a hammy injury, Wilson said he was even doing rehab on the chartered flight to England by just saying too much.
What up, Brandon? How you doing, brother? What's going on with you tonight? You good? Mm-hmm. What up, Ship? I like what I'm seeing with the Cavs. I know who Donovan Mitchell is, and I know that he's a volume shooter, and I understand that about him. But I do think that he is what they were missing with that young Cavs unit and them being as good as they are defensively. And Darius Garland coming into his own, he needs somebody like Donovan Mitchell to be able to play off of him. Now, I'm not really loving Donovan Mitchell shooting the basketball 29 times 2 nights ago, but that is who he is, right? That is who he is. And I think that that number is going to go down when Darius Garland gets back and gets healthy. I don't think he needs to shoot the basketball 29 times. I think that he'll be put in better position when running with Darius Garland. He'll be put in better positions to get better shots because of the scoring threat that Darius Garland is. Now, I do think that they need to get Evan Mobley more involved in the offense. I know that it's early. Hey, guys, how are you? What's up, Jay? What's up, Mark? I do know that it's early, and I do know that they're still trying to figure it out. But what I am not loving is I'm not loving Evan Mobley taking 7 shots. No, I'm not loving that. I do like what I'm seeing from Kevin Love. That's the vet that they need. A lot of championship teams, a lot of playoff contenders, as good as they are, you need those vets. And the fact that the Cavs have that, I had them as a top 5 seed, possibly going into the season before they made the Donovan Mitchell trade. The fact that they made the Donovan Mitchell trade, I think that solidifies them as a top 5 seed. I like Karis LeVert. I expect the Okoro to be better than what he is. Maybe he's just a dirty work guy. Maybe he's not. I don't know. But I expect him to be better offensively, and I'm surprised that he hasn't been. I think that in terms of the front court with the Cavs, you probably have, in terms of interior defense, you're looking at a top 5 interior defense with both Mobley and Jared Allen. You're looking at a top 5 rim protectors and top 5 paint protectors. So with that being said, I'm looking at this Cavs team, and they're going to be better defensively. They're going to be better offensively just because of Donovan Mitchell. And because of that, I think that they're solidified as a top 5 seed. I think that they're a second-round exit because they're as young as they are. They may be able to get a really good matchup and get into the East Finals. I'd be surprised if they did that, but I do think that they can win a playoff series. I don't know if they can be an Eastern Conference finalist, but I do think that they can win a playoff series. I do believe that. So, what up, Tyler? How you doing, brother? Well, figure this out, Adam. Kevin Love and Osman, them 2 dudes, they're the only 2 that's left from the championship team. And when I say the championship team, I mean the team that went to the finals in 18. Those 2 guys are the only. Everybody else is gone. James gone. Tristan Thompson is gone. J.R. Smith is gone. Who am I thinking about? Hill is gone. George Hill is gone. All of those guys are gone. All of them. And as good as Kevin Love is, as big of a deal as he is as a vet, as big of a deal as he is, as big of a deal as he is as a vet, he really helps them. He helps them out a lot, yo. Osman gives them really good minutes. He gives them really good minutes. So, like I said, all them other guys are gone. Them two guys are the only two guys that are left. Nobody else. Everybody else is gone. Everybody else is gone. Mm-hmm. Well, Mark, you and me had this conversation, if I'm not mistaken, and you poo-pooed it with me last year. Me and you had this conversation, Mark, about we're going to have a conversation in a year, maybe 2 years tops, about Jason Tatum being the league MVP. And you looked at me like I had 5 heads because how much you feel in Luka, how you felt about James Harden, how you feel about Giannis. And I was telling you that Jason Tatum is turning into that elite player that I saw early on in his career. Defensively, he's gotten much better. Not only did he get better defensively, his playmaking has gotten better. His one-on-one game has gotten better. All of those things have gotten better. Add that to the fact that when they get Robert Williams back, they're going to be even better defensively. You already know how I feel about Jason Tatum. He's my favorite player under 25. As you guys know, and you know how I feel about Zion and Trae Young and Ja and all of those other guys, but Jason Tatum is my favorite player under 25. I love that guy, no doubt about it. Now, as far as those 3 guys, Ja, I can't see Ja as a league MVP right now, and the reason why I can't see him as a league MVP right now is because I'm looking at what's going on in the landscape of the NBA, and that Memphis team is bad defensively. They are bad. And there are going to be guys who are not going to be able to hold up. They're not going to be able to hold up. King, don't start that, man. On the biggest stage, he crumbled. That was the first time he was there, man. Why you doing that? Don't do that, man. Nah, yo. I ain't listening to you. I'm good, yo. Like there was dudes who didn't on the first time that they got there in year 5. That they were super sharp. Come on, man. That's corny. That's super corny that you would even say something like that. I don't see the logic in Luka being the MVP. If he had a better team, he'd be a lock for MVP, but he doesn't. Well, here's the thing, JB. If I look at the Dallas Mavericks, I think they're a playing team. Right? That's number 1. I think that they're a playing team. Number 2, they look to me, they don't look that much different than last year. In fact, they may look like they've taken a step back because at least Luka could go to Jalen Brunson for buckets. He's responsible for everybody's offense. Can you count consistently on, right? Can you consistently count on Spencer Dinwiddie to give you buckets? Can you consistently count on him like you could count on Jaylen Brown or Donovan Mitchell, Paul George, or not even let's not even say those guys at the elite level, right? Let's not even say those guys at the elite level. How about, let's see, like Bradley Beal? Well, Bradley Beal would also be in that same category. I'm just thinking about guys like DeJounte Murray. Can you count on him like you can count on DeJounte Murray in order to be a legit second option? And not only to be a legit second option, to be a legit second option where we can move forward in the playoffs. I'm not sure if I can say that he is. I'm not sure that I can say that he is. I think Dinwiddie can give you, I think he can give you buckets in spurts, but to consistently count on him as your number two, if that's what you're thinking in terms of being a top 3, top 4, top 5 seed, he looked better in the playoffs. He looked good in the playoffs, Justin. He looked damn good in the playoffs. Yes, he did. He looked damn good in the playoffs. Am I betting on Jalen Brunson more than I'm betting on Spencer Dinwiddie? I am. Yes, I am. No doubt about that. Because when I look at that Dallas unit, Luka is now solely responsible for that entire offense. He's responsible for that whole offense. He's responsible for Hardaway getting buckets. He's responsible for Finney-Smith. He's definitely responsible for Bullock. He's responsible for Kleber. When did I didn't even know, and from watching him, and I watched a couple of Houston games, right? I watched a couple of Houston games. With watching a couple of Houston games, I didn't know that. What's the big guy's name? I don't know why I'm drawing a blank on his name. I didn't even know he could shoot the long ball. I didn't even know that. I mean, he went 3 for 3 last night. I'm thinking to myself, damn, that's interesting. And where is this coming from? This is coming from the fact that Luka draws so much attention. Christian Wood, that's what I'm thinking. I don't know why I drew a blank with his name. Christian Wood, the fact that Luka draws so much attention that Christian Wood is actually cracking long balls. I didn't even know he could shoot the long ball, because I didn't see him shoot the long ball that much last year in Houston. He was more of a transition guy. I mean, he could. I saw him knock down the mid-range, but the long ball, I did not see that. No, sir, I didn't. What up, Andre? How you doing, brother? My man. So here's the thing that we need to get to the bottom of, because King is trying to sell me that Christian Wood is an all-star. So Christian Wood is an all-star at the forward spot. So you got 12 spots, right? You got 12 spots on the Western Conference all-star team. So you got 2 spots for big guys. So now I got 10 spots. And I got, 5 spots? I got 5 spots for guards. So I got 2 starters and 2 reserves and 3 reserves. And I got 2 forwards, 2 starters and 2 reserves. So in the Western Conference, who are the forwards? Who are the forwards going to the All-Star game? So let's just start with the Pacific Division. Do the Sacramento Kings have an All-Star? Because I don't know if Christian Wood is better than Sabonis, but I don't think Sabonis is an all-star. I don't think Christian Wood is better than him. But no, they don't. Sacramento doesn't have an all-star at the forward spot. How about Golden State? Do they have an all-star at the forward spot? I mean, Draymond Green made the all-star team last year. I'd be surprised if he made the all-star team this year. I would be surprised if he made the all-star team this year. I would be really surprised. How about Andrew Wiggins? Andrew Wiggins made the all-star team last year. He could very well make the all-star team this year, right? So that's 1 forward. Sacramento, Golden State. So let's go down the coast a little bit. So the Lakers. James is going to make the all-star team, right? James is going to make the all-star team. And Anthony Davis is going to make the all-star team this year. And I know as bad as it looks early, and Anthony Davis is going to be an all-league defender too. I believe that. So James is going to make the all-star team. I think Anthony Davis is going to make the all-star team too. Now, the Clippers. Leonard. Is Leonard going to be an all-star this year? I don't know if Leonard the way Leonard, I think Leonard plays himself back into the top 10, but we're going to see. Paul George is also a forward. He's going to make the all-star team. So then you got the Phoenix Suns. So I got 4 forwards. Anthony Davis, Andrew Wiggins, LeBron James, and I just said somebody else. Oh, Paul George is in that conversation. And then you got Phoenix. I don't think Phoenix has any forwards. That's just in the Pacific Division. All right, so let's go to the Mountain Division. So you got the Trailblazers. I don't think the Trailblazers have a forward that's going to make the All-Star team. I don't think Grant's going to make the All-Star team. I don't think Nurkic is going to make the All-Star team. So those guys, Portland is out in terms of forwards, right? So they're out. Now you got Minnesota. Cat's going to make the All-Star team, right? I think Cat's an All-Star at the forward spot. So let's see. Oklahoma City doesn't have an All-Star. Denver, they don't have any forwards that are going to make the All-Star team. I don't think. MPJ is not an All-Star. MPJ is not an All-Star, I don't think. So you got Cat. You got Cat that's That's in the Mountain Division. So you got Portland, Minnesota, Oklahoma City, Denver, and Utah. So I got one guy, and I think that guy is Cat. Rudy is a center. So that's 5 forwards in the 2 divisions. And then you go to the Southwest Division where you got San Antonio. I don't think San Antonio has a forward that's going to make the All-Star team. Dallas, you said, is Christian Wood. Houston, I don't think that they have any forwards that's going to make the All-Star team. Memphis, I don't think Memphis has a forward that's going to make the All-Star team. But here's where it gets tricky. New Orleans, both Brandon Ingram and Zion are looking at being All-Star guys. So that's 7 guys. That's 7 guys ahead of Christian Wood. So which of those 7 guys does Christian Wood go ahead of? Hello, Jillian dear. How are you? So we're talking about Christian Wood making an All-Star team. And in the Western Conference, I just gave you 7 forwards. Of those 7 forwards, who does Christian Wood go ahead of? So he's going to make the All-Star team by default. He's not going to make the All-Star team because he's actually better than those guys. He's going to make the All-Star team because this guy's going to get hurt. That's so that's the logic. All right, I suppose. I suppose. King, we already got to the bottom of all the people in here, right? Of all the people in here, by show of hands, is Christian Wood better than Domantas Sabonis? Yes or no? Because King a lot of times King talks to me, he just wants to argue. And that's fine. I have no problem with that. But I'm asking a simple question. Of all the people in here, is Christian Wood better than Sabonis? And King, what are you basing Sabonis, or what are you basing King being better than Sabonis at? King, what are you betting Wood being better? How is Wood better than Sabonis? On what level? Mm-hmm. I can appreciate that. You're basing it on the numbers and how he plays. So Sabonis, who's been an All-Star, not only has he been an All-Star, I think he's a 20-10 guy. I'm not sure that that's not true. North Philly, what up, Trey? How you doing, brother? What's going on with you? You think that this 25 a game is sustainable with Christian Wood? All right. Because I know Christian Wood went 18. I think he went 18-10 last year in Houston. Something like that. And he was marginal at best defensively. Marginal at best. So no, I don't. I just named you 7 forwards. 7 forwards. I don't think he's going to make the All-Star team. I don't. No, I do not. You can plug. What system can't Sabonis thrive in? As a money mid-range shooter, as a glass cleaner, as a damn good transition player, as a great Sabonis is a great one-on-one player on the box. What system can't he thrive in? I think the schedule is what screwed the Heat up. Because Sabonis actually sustained it. Can Woods sustain that? Not only can Woods sustain that, we're talking about in the Western Conference. Like Sabonis made the All-Star team in the East. And I think that the forward selection is a little bit I think the forward selection in the West is a little thicker than it is in the East. A lot thicker than in the East.
Yeah, I think all of us would be to some degree. Very quickly on what Jalen said, the idea that if he accepted this role, that maybe the fans would be into it, the team would be into it. But sometimes this guy was on the all 75th team.
What I don't want to do is I don't want to overplay my hand. And because I've seen this movie before. I've seen guys who are jumping out the box early and they look great early. And in the process of them looking great early, people have a tendency to overrate them. So, excuse me, if Christian Wood is an actual all-star this year, I would be surprised. But you clearly are putting me on to him, though. You're putting me on to him, so I'm paying attention. Jillian, I'm telling you right now, Jill, and you and me had this conversation a year ago, and I got laughed at, and you in particular, you were laughing at me. A lot of you guys were laughing at me when I told you that I don't like this matchup between the Phoenix Suns and the Golden State Warriors for the Golden State Warriors. I don't like it. I don't like the ability that their ability to stop Ayton rim running. Ayton didn't score as much as he could have. He missed a lot of bunnies last night. Chris Paul was so solid in the mid-range, and he was still getting to the spots that he could get to. Steph Curry struggles with length and athleticism, particularly Mikal Bridges. He struggles with him. He has a very difficult time with him. We completely leaving out the fact that Klay Thompson, just so you guys know, Book was torching his ass last night before he got kicked out. Book was torching him. I do not like this matchup. I'm not saying that the Phoenix Suns are going to win the NBA championship. I do not like this matchup between them and the Warriors, and I don't like it for the Warriors because there are too many holes that the Warriors don't fill. I'm watching Ayton bury Draymond Green under the bucket. I'm watching him bury Draymond Green under the bucket, and he missed a lot of bunnies. He ended up making up for it on the backboard. I just don't like this matchup. I think it's a bad matchup for the Golden State Warriors. I do. And if they were to see the Golden State Warriors in the playoffs, I'm going with the Phoenix Suns. I'm going with the Suns. And they had Wiseman last night. And that's the thing that I understand. I do understand Steve Kerr and what his logic is. He's not trying to rush. He's not trying to rush Wiseman. No, he's not trying to do that. He's not trying to rush. He's not trying to rush Wiseman. He's trying to ease him into the lineup. He looked good yesterday. Wiseman looked good. His ability to rim run, his ability to rebound, his ability to score within 5 to 10 feet. He looked really good, and he's going to help them. He's absolutely going to help them. But Phoenix has a way of making you play faster. Not making you play. I'm going to take that back. Not making you play. Making the Golden State Warriors play a different way. Keeping Steph Curry off balance. Limiting his touches. Getting him the basketball in spaces where it's uncomfortable. We all know that Steph Curry, when he walks in the gym, that's his range, right? We all know that when he walks in the arena, that's his range. But it's a little bit more difficult when he's off balance and when Mikal Bridges is all over him. I do not like this matchup. I don't like it. I don't like it at all. I do not. Justin, why are you concerned with his shot selection now? Klay's shot selection hasn't changed since he walked in the door. He's a long ball shooter. That's who he is. And he's always been a long ball shooter. And this season, he's coming in to prove that I'm getting back to being Klay Thompson. That's who I am. I'm getting back to being Klay Thompson. No doubt. I'm getting back to being Klay Thompson. Justin, I'm not buying that. I'm not buying that, Justin. And the reason why I'm not buying that is because I just saw him in the NBA Finals 2 years ago. I think that Dallas Maverick matchup is exactly my logic with them and Golden State. That was a bad matchup. That was a bad matchup for the Phoenix Suns. It was bad. And like I told you months ago, I think Monty Williams got outcoached. I think he got outcoached. I think that they did a lot to jump Book. I think they did a lot to make Chris Paul not only guard, but to jump him too and to make him go to his left. They did a lot of those things that tripped up the Phoenix Suns. A lot of it. So I just don't like that matchup between them. I don't. Keyshawn is out on the Jazz. This is the same Keyshawn that was telling me that they're a playoff team. And explain in context why they made the finals? Well, they made the finals. Number one, James was beat up, even though the Lakers were up in that series. James was beat up. Anthony Davis was out for the series. So that helped them out. Chris Paul was beat up too. He told us his elbow was screwed up. His elbow was screwed up and he was hurt. So they end up winning that series. Still, they outplayed the Lakers. They were better defensively. They were a better transition team. They got better looks offensively than the Lakers did. So then you move forward, right? You move forward to the Nuggets, who they didn't have MPJ. They didn't have Jamal. They didn't have Jamal Murray, who, by the way, we've seen what the Denver Nuggets are looking like early. It looks like it's going to be a process with them. And it clearly showed because Phoenix swept them out of the playoffs. Phoenix didn't beat them. They swept them out of the playoffs. So they swept them because, like I said, Joker was basically out there, not by himself, but he was undermanned. And they took advantage of that. Book took advantage of that. Chris Paul took advantage of that. DeAndre Ayton, that team took advantage of that. And defensively, they were so much better. Now, move forward to the Clippers. Well, Leonard ended up getting hurt against the Utah Jazz. And Paul George, he ended up giving them everything that he could. But they were clearly undermanned. But I'm not going to blame them for that. I'm not going to fault them for that. We play who's in front of us. I can't go, well, you guys were hurt, so I'm not going to really play as. No, we play who's in front of us. That's what we do. We play who's in front of us. This team won 65 games last year, and they ran into a bad matchup with the Dallas Mavericks. That was a bad matchup. Add that to the fact that they should not have gone 6 games with the New Orleans Hornets. The reason why they went 6 games with the New Orleans Hornets is because Chris Paul had to play more. Chris Paul having to play more was a result of Cameron Payne not giving them anything as a backup. He didn't give them anything. And that's important for this Phoenix Suns team, which, by the way, they've gotten better on their second unit. They've gotten much better on their second unit. I'm digging Torrey Craig. I'm liking what I'm seeing from him. I'm liking the Australian Landvale. I like him. Absolutely. I'm liking him. So what I can't do is I can't discount that. And I won't discount that. I won't discount that. He's washed. Damn, he went 18. I think he went 18 in 11 last night. Damn. I think that the difference, Jillian, is that the Heat have started with some really good teams. I mean, they had to deal with Boston. They had to deal with Toronto twice, who they basically had Toronto in the chokehold. Now, I will tell you this, Jillian, because I was at the game last Friday night when they played against Boston. I still see a lack of aggressiveness from Bam. I understand that he runs the offense, the way the offense is ran, I understand that he doesn't deviate from the offense. But I think that if they had a legit big man, he would be so much more. I think he would be so much more effective if he was at the 4 because they would feature him more in the offense. I think that he would be so much better in the mid-range. I think he would be so much better in transition because he handles the basketball. He handles the basketball, so he would be so much better. Tyler Hero is awesome. Tyler Hero is absolutely awesome. Buckets is awesome. I didn't get much from Kyle Lowry. It's interesting you guys talk about guys being washed. Kyle Lowry looks to me like his best years are still behind him. That's what he looks like to me. He looks like his best years are still behind, are clearly behind him. But he is solid enough where I think he's solid enough where he can still give you solid minutes. I'm not sure if we could win it with him though. But I got to take that statement back because I said that about him in Toronto. I'm not sure that you can win it with Kyle Lowry as your lead guard, and they ended up winning it. So I'm not going to say that. I have to take that back. I can't say that they can't win it without him because he's proven that you can win it with him. Now, I know this was 4 years ago, but I mean, and we're looking at a different Kyle Lowry, but it's early. It is early, and I think that he could be solid enough, right? I think he could be solid enough where once we get into the playoffs, he could give them the necessary minutes. Like he's not gonna be Kyle Lowry who was running with DeMar DeRozan. He's not gonna be Kyle Lowry who was running with Leonard. Nah, he ain't gonna be that dude. I don't think so. He's not gonna be that guy. He's not gonna be that guy. I think you're looking at this all wrong, Justin. I think what you're looking at with Bam is you're looking at a guy who he hasn't impressed you since 2020. You're looking at a guy whose lack of aggression is what's swaying you. I think that we could get back to that. I do think that we could get back to that. Is there a coach in the NBA you think is underrated? Yeah, we don't talk about Ty Lue nearly as much as we should. Ty Lue didn't have his best player was off the roster. Not only was his best player off the roster last year in Kawhi Leonard, but his second best player was out the majority of the season, and they still managed to make the playoffs. Not make the playoffs, but they were right outside of making the playoffs last year. I thought he did a good job with that unit and had them. I thought that 2 years ago they were going to the NBA championship. I did think that. I do believe that. You obviously see that it's there with Bam. It's obviously there with Bam in terms of the skill set, in terms of the effort. It's all there. It's just got to be put together. That's all it is with him. I don't have any parlays. I don't gamble like that. I'd be lying to you if I said I did. I don't. That happens, my man. The Celtics blow leads. Teams are going to blow leads. I watched the Golden State Warriors win the NBA championship, but during the season, I believe that they had the Minnesota Timberwolves at one point. I think it was the 2017, so the 2018 season. I mean, they had the Minnesota Timberwolves like up 22, and they ended up blowing the lead, and they came back and lost. So that happens. Teams blow leads. No doubt about that. What up, Spoo? How you doing, brother? My favorite Jordan shoe of all time is the 6, the number 6 and the 13. The 6 because when that was the first year that was in '91 when they won the NBA championship. I just remember him coming out with the white jersey on and the white drawers and these black shoes, and I was like, "What are those? Wow!" He just looked aerodynamic with those on. I was really feeling those, and then the 13s with the red and white 13s, I was like, man, stop playing. Those were some of the cleanest joints that I had ever seen, no doubt. Well, he's a lot bigger, Zay, than what I thought. Like a lot of people list Jason Tatum as a certain size. First of all, he's every bit of 6'9", a bit of it. He's looking Bam right in the face. Every bit of 6'9" is Jason Tatum. There's nothing 6'7" or 6'8" about him. He's every bit of 6'9". Maybe 6'10". Maybe. He may be 6'10", but he's a bit of 6'9". And he looks a lot sharper, a lot faster in person than he does on TV. I don't have season tickets, Jillian. There are certain games that that I'll pick out. And I figured, to be honest with you, Jill, I figured that it's early in the season, so there won't be any load management. Guys aren't hurt. So I know the guys are going to play, guys are going to be fresh, and guys are going to be ready to go. So when I saw that, I was like, let's do it. Let's do it. I did see that. He went for 22 in the third quarter, and he got going. I think that the Trailblazers, who I haven't given them enough credit. I don't mean this year, but I mean their ability to develop guys. So, like, to get Anthony Simons late in the first round, basically stole him and tucked him away. Didn't tell anybody about him, stole him, tucked him away, and worked on him and developed him. And now he's starting to look like a starting two guard in the NBA. He's starting to look like that. They did the same thing with CJ McCollum. Same thing with CJ McCollum. Stole him in the first round, tucked him away, developed him. After 2 years, this guy is looking like after 2 years, this guy is looking like a starting two guard in the NBA. So I think that they've done an amazing job with that. An amazing job with that. I had kudos to the Portland Trailblazers for their development. Definitely that. And same thing with Damian Lillard. Developing Damian Lillard the way that they did, because they could have built a travesty around him and completely screwed him up, but they didn't. They didn't. Nah, it's not Precious, though. He's small, man. That's the problem. That's the problem. What up, FIFA boy? How you doing, brother? Isaac, happy birthday, brother. Happy 19th. That's what's up, my man. Happy birthday to you. No doubt. Happy birthday, brother. OG, do you think that, what do you think about Pascal Siakam being first team All NBA and first team All Defense this year? He's gonna have a tough time in the East. He is. He's gonna have a real tough time in the East because the two. So when you talk about the East in terms of forwards, just first team All NBA. So you got KD, you got Giannis, you got Jason Tatum, right? And DeMar DeRozan is listed as a forward, which I still think he's a two guard. I've always felt like he's a two guard. So those four, good to see you, Liam. No doubt, brother. Good to see you. So those four right there, Siakam, it's going to be difficult for him to jump them. Really difficult for him to jump them. Just in the East. I ain't even talking about All NBA. Just in the East. It's going to be difficult to jump them. No, Keyshawn, I'm not in on the Blazers. I'm not in on the Blazers. Yeah, somebody did say that Siakam owns Tatum. I did hear that. I don't know how true that is, but the best two-way player, James. Offensive and defensive, James. He's the best I've ever seen, man. He's not the best offensive player I've ever seen. He's not the best ball. He's the best player. He's not the best ball handler. He's not the best scorer. He's the best player that I've ever seen, period. I don't know if Russ. Here's the thing about Russ wanting out. There's a difference between wanting out and there being a market for him. I think that's the difference. If there's a market for Russ right now, I mean, the Lakers had an opportunity to trade him this summer, and they didn't. They did not. They did not. So now here's the thing, Seb. There's a difference between playing better and being better. Now, is Jason Tatum playing better than James? I think you can make that argument. Is he a better player right now? No, I don't think so. But I don't think it's that far off neither. I don't think it's James and Tatum. No, I think it's a lot closer than people give you. I think it's a lot closer than people think. No doubt about that. Prince, what's up, brother? I don't know, Crazy Gaming. That's a tough one. What did I miss? I think you can get. I definitely feel like that. I think Tatum is better than Siakam. Yeah. I don't think it's a wash, but I do think that he's better than him. No doubt about that. Yeah, they did. Those 1990 Phoenix jerseys, they did look good. No, OG, but on the panel, I want to get back to that. Not going to say you got cooked, but you said Kareem a better rebounder than Shaq because he led the league in rebounding when they said AI over Kobe in scoring. Right. And you know the difference? You know the difference in that? Here's the thing. Like, when I'm on a panel and I'm debating topics, do you guys in here think that I am going to win every battle that I'm in? Do you guys think that? But I can tell you what I'm not going to do. I'm not going to lose more than I win. I bet you that. I bet you I'm going to win more than I lose. So the logic of Shaq not leading the league in rebounding. So him telling me that Allen Iverson has 4 scoring titles and Kobe has 2, does that mean that four scoring titles and Kobe has 2, even though Kobe is a better scorer? Is it legit? Or is it fair that we can at least have a conversation about Kobe Bryant and Allen Iverson as a scorer? Can we have a conversation about that? Or is it not even a conversation? Kobe is a much better scorer than Allen Iverson. Can we even have a conversation about it? Because I'd like to think the fact that Allen Iverson led the league in scoring 4 times. Kobe led the league in scoring 2 times. We could at least have a conversation about these 2 guys in terms of scoring. We can absolutely do that. The fact that Shaq never led the league in rebounding 1 time, the fact that he never led the league in blocks 1 time, we can't have a conversation about him and Jabbar because I did this way more than you did it. Way more. There is no conversation to be had about that. None. No, I didn't say that. No, I did not say that. No, I didn't. I didn't say that. And because I didn't say that, and I thought about it later, because I'm pretty sure that you guys have gotten on in here with me and we've had conversations, and then later on you said, damn, I wish I would have said that. Or damn, I just thought about that. Well, that's exactly what I said yesterday. Damn, I would have thought about that. But when you are on a panel with 3 or 4 people who are coming after you, of course, you got to think fast. And the majority of the time, I'm on my toes. I'd like to think that I am. I would like to think that I am. That's a horrible take. Because just because you didn't lead the league in blocks doesn't mean you aren't a good shot blocker. Facts. It doesn't mean that you aren't a good shot blocker. But if this dude did it 5 times and you did it 0, we can't have a conversation about you and him. You're not in the same class with him. You're not. If this dude did it 5 times and you did it 2, we can have a conversation about that because you're obviously at that level. Obviously you are. But the fact that he did it 6 times, he did it 7 times, and you did it these many times, there is no conversation to be had. None. He's clearly a better rebounder than you. Clearly. It's not close. He's a better rebounder than you. It's not close. A player can average 2 blocks and lead the league one season, and the next he could be third, so I disagree with your logic. Right, the next year he could be third. That's correct. But the guy that he's going up against, if that guy also led the league in rebounding, we can still have this conversation. But if that guy never did it, so the guy you're talking about who's third, let's say he's third, then he's second, then he's fourth, then he's fifth, then he's second. Meanwhile, this guy is the league leading rebounder 6 years. We can't have this conversation. I'm better than you with this. I'm better. If you did it once or twice, we can have this conversation. If you didn't do it ever, we can't. We can't. Simply from a production standpoint, we can't. I'm not buying the logic of, which is a lot of the stuff, which is a lot of the times you guys get sucked into this. A lot of times you guys get sucked into the eye test and what it looks like. And you completely disregard production, which burns me about y'all, makes me nuts about you. So the last game I went to crazy, I was at the Heat Celtic game last Friday night. I was there. OG good maturity though. Instead of having Ticket and Mars, you can't remember his name. Mars dude arguing, you trying to get back on track. A lot of people say Muhammad Ali is the greatest boxer ever. Lennox Lewis is my favorite. You can make the argument, Aaron, that Wilt is the best ever. I got him number 4 all time on my list, behind James, Jordan, and Jabal. You can make that. You can definitely make the argument that Wilt's the best ever. You can definitely make that argument. The loudest game I've ever been to was Game 5 of the Western Conference Finals in 2002 in Arco Arena. I needed earplugs. They had on the jumbos. They had on the jumbotron what the noise meter was, and it was as loud as a jet engine, like standing in front of a jet engine. So I can't have him in my top 3 because he played with another top 5 player in Magic. LeBron and Jordan never had that pleasure. Who are you talking about, King? I'm sorry, I missed that. I completely missed that. Why do I get punished for playing with another top 5 player? I don't think Magic is a top 5 player. I got him right outside the top 5. But wait a minute, what kind of logic is that? Jordan played with the best all-around player in the game in the 90s. That's not my opinion. That's fact. That's fact. Jordan played with the best all-around player in the game in Scottie Pippen. I can't fault Jordan for that. That ain't Michael Jordan's fault. No way is that Jay's fault. Hell no. No way. $45, what up, brother? What's going on with you? Well, there's a lot of teams that don't really develop guys. Like the Oklahoma City Thunder had a really good developmental system. Really good developmental system. If Magic never retires, he would easily be the GOAT. I'm not going to say easily, Kenny, but we having a way different conversation about Magic. And I'm glad you brought that up because I had done the numbers on the trajectory that Magic, for me, Magic didn't retire in 1996. Magic retired in 1991. But on the trajectory that he was going and the way he was playing, I believe after 1991, from 91, 92 to 96, 95, 96. So that's 5 more years, right? That's 5 more years. He would have accumulated, if I'm not mistaken, he would have accumulated over 8,000 more points and I think almost 7,000 more assists, which means that after he retired, who knows if he would have won the NBA championship again? I think that at minimum, they would have gotten back to the NBA championship at least one more time. I think that they would have gotten back to the NBA championship at least one more time. So with that being said, Kenny, at the end of his career, had he retired in 1996 and played those extra 5 years, he would have retired with over 25,000 points and over 15,000 assists. We are having a completely different conversation about Magic Johnson today. We got robbed. I don't know how old you are, Kenny, but I felt like I got robbed of those 4 years of Magic Johnson. Those were prime years. When he retired when he told us in November of 1991 that he's retiring, he was 32. 32 years old. He still had 4 or 5 more great years in him before he was over. Like what you saw in 1996, this is a dude who hadn't played in the NBA in 4 years. We got robbed of those years. No doubt about that. So I think I was talking to King about, what were we talking about? Let me get back to that real quick. King and I were talking. Dennis Rodman and Pippen are top 25 players all time. You can make the argument Scottie Pippen's a top 25 player all time. You can make that argument. I can make that argument that Scottie Pippen's a top 25 player all time. Definitely can make that argument. Now, he's definitely a top 30 player. No doubt about it in my mind. Scottie Pippen is a top 30 player. But I can make the argument that he's top 25. No doubt. But with that being said, during his time when he was playing with Jay, I can't blame Jay for having a top 5 player. Because Jay had a top 5 player for the majority of the 90s. It wasn't like Jay had a good Scottie Pippen. Okay, if we go back to when you talked about, hang on for a second. What do you think about this logic? Scottie is better than any teammate Bron played with. I got Scottie over Wade, AD, and anyone else. I don't know if Scottie was better than Dwayne Wade, but I'll give you everybody else. I got no problem with that. Everybody else. Irv, Kevin Love, Anthony Davis, all the rest of them dudes. Scottie Pippen was better than all of them. No doubt about it. Chris Bosh, Zydrunas Ilgauskas, Delonte West, all of them dudes. He was better than every last one of them. No doubt about that. I'm not sure that he was better than Dwayne Wade, though. Yes, he was. And here's how I know he was top 5. Rant. I want to make sure that I get you. What's your? Let me ask you this question. Sajid, I got to make sure I say your name right. I don't want to butcher your name, my man. Sanjit. I think I said that right. So, what's your logic for Scottie Pippen not being top 5? Let me talk to my man Sanjit for a minute. What's your logic for him not being top 25? For him not being top 5. And then I'll tell you mine. And we talking about during his time in the NBA. And we talking about during his time in the NBA, he was a top 5 player running with Jay. During his time. His best season was 1996, and I think Shaq, Jordan, Malone, Hakeem, and Ewing were all better. Okay, so that's your logic. Okay, that's fair. So what I'm going to counter with is since 1980, right? Since 1980, we've had 7 guys, 7 of them. 7 teams have guys who were first team All-NBA. 2 guys on the team that were first team All-NBA. So Magic and Jabal, Doc and Moses, Bird and McHale, Scottie and Jordan, Kobe and Shaq, Hang on. Stoudemire and Steve Nash. Stoudemire and Steve Nash. And I'm leaving somebody out. I am leaving somebody out. Steph and KD never were first team All-NBA. Never. Not one time were they first team All-NBA. But with that being said, Scottie Pippen was first team All-NBA 3 straight years. And his best season wasn't 1996. His best season was 1994, where he went 22-8 and he finished 3rd in the league in MVP votes. Not only did he finish 3rd in the league in MVP votes, he finished 3rd in Defensive Player of the Year. That was his best season. That was the year after Jordan retired. That was his best season. So with that being said, all of those guys were top 5 players. Magic and Jabbar were top 5 players. Moses and Doc were top 5 players. McHale and Bird were top 5 players in 1988. Let's take Jay and Scottie Pippen off the table. Kobe and Shaq were top 5 players. Who am I thinking about? Steve Nash and Stoudemire were top 5 players at that time. No doubt about it. So with that being said, if that's true for those guys, it has to be true for Scottie Pippen. It has to be. And LeBron James and Anthony Davis. And I'd like to think that LBJ and Anthony Davis in the 1920 season, is there any legit logic you could give me that Anthony Davis and LeBron James going into at the end of the 1920 season were not top 5 players? Because I was convinced Anthony Davis was the top 5 player. No doubt about it. OG, you can't make an argument why Wade was better than Scottie, or you're gonna bring up his buckets. No, I'm not gonna just bring up buckets. I'm gonna bring up the fact that Dwayne Wade, he got it done. I think Scottie was better as a number 2 than Dwayne Wade was as a number 1. I do believe that. Even though Dwayne Wade took his team to the NBA Finals and they won the NBA championship with him as an NBA finalist, with him being the Finals MVP. But I think Scottie Pippen as a number 2, he was better than Dwayne Wade was as a number 2. No doubt about that. He was definitely better than Dwayne Wade as a number 2. There's no question about it. He was definitely better than him. The greatest final series I ever watched was the 2016 NBA Finals. Yeah. And there were a bunch of them that were great. The 2001 NBA Finals were awesome. The 2001 NBA Finals were awesome. The 87 Finals were fantastic. The 98 Finals were great. The 94 Finals were awesome, but the 2016 NBA Finals, it was the best that I'd ever seen. No doubt about it. No doubt. Scotland in the house. Midnight in Scotland. Ha! Impact on the game. Top 5 PGs. Oscar, Magic, Curry, Stockton, Chris Paul. I don't think Curry's a point guard, so that's just me. I don't think it's Curry, Spoo, because Curry is not a spring chicken. So we all know who Curry is and what he does. So there isn't much that you can do about him. I mean, he fits so well into that Golden State Warriors offense that it's pretty difficult to deal with him and adjust. You basically just have to do the best that you can to keep the ball away from him. That's why Phoenix is so good against him. Simply for that reason right there. Because Mikal Bridges does a great job of limiting Steph Curry's touches. I think that's the thing that I enjoy the most about him. So to answer your question, Curry, I think, is out. Giannis is a guy who we just have to eat his production. Luka does so many different things that it's pretty difficult to adjust to him because he can crack the long ball. He can get downhill. He's an elite passer. So he does so many different things that it's so difficult to adjust to him because you could throw the double team at him and he's a great passer. You can play him one-on-one. He's one of the best one-on-one players in the game, right? So you can make him a facilitator. You can make him a playmaker and make those other guys make shots. He's going to put those guys in positions to score. So if I had to pick between the three of them, I think it's Luka. See that part right there? Aaron, what does that mean? He's greater. That either you were better than this dude or you weren't. Because this is what you're trying to sell us, Aaron. What you're trying to do is you're trying to split the two. Because Chris Paul's talent didn't match Isaiah Thomas's production. Isaiah Thomas's production and his talent were just as much with Chris Paul. And that to the fact that Isaiah Thomas was the best player. He was the best point guard in the country in high school. He was the best point guard in the country in college. Was he ever the best point guard in the NBA? It was arguable. I don't think he was ever better than Magic. I can't say that he was ever better than Magic, but it was a legit conversation. It was a legit conversation. But with that being said, when I look at Chris Paul, what I can't do is I can't differentiate the two. What did it lead to? What did it lead to? Joker too. I think Luka is a little bit more difficult to adjust to simply because of his one-on-one and how he can get to the basket on the perimeter. Joker can get to the basket, but I don't think he has the same effect as Luka does. I don't know why you don't think so. I think that you're looking at Russ right now, Sanjit. I think you're looking at Russ right now. There is, you can't give me legit logic that Russ isn't a top 10 point guard all time. I can't name 10 point guards all time better than Russ. I can't do it. No, I don't think so, Lennon. Because they're going to be, for me, there are going to be people who are going to say stuff like, well, it took him 20 years to do it. It did. There's still going to be people who are going to have corny logic about why he isn't that. Him getting the all-time scoring record is not going to change how I feel about him. I already feel the way I do about him. So Russell Westbrook was better than Chauncey Billups. Yes, he was. Yes, he was. I still got to wait to. I can't, Keyshawn. I don't think you respect how difficult it is to completely miss a season and then have to come back into the next season on a unit where championship expectations are there. So if Ben Simmons was in San Antonio, I don't think that back surgery too, King. I can't leave that part out. If Ben Simmons was in San Antonio, we wouldn't be having this conversation. But the fact that he's in Brooklyn, there is no grace period with him. He's got to get right back to it. Right back to it. And him having to get right back to it is tough, yo. I think it's tough. It's really tough for him. So I know the Joker's a two-time league MVP, no doubt about that. Some of the best metrics of all time, not just for centers. Right, I know that. I'm not fighting that. I'm not fighting that. I'm not fighting that at all. So, yep. It's about that time for me, guys. It was good to see y'all. Brooklyn and Milwaukee tonight. And I am going to stay up for the Lakers in Denver. I am going to stay up for that. Yes, I am. I'm going to stay up for that, and I am going to watch that. And we will be having a conversation about that real soon. But it was good to see y'all. We'll do it again real soon. Until then, take it light. We take it.